Lamars City Council regular meeting to order Tuesday, January 7th, 2020 at 12 p.m. Would everybody please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We have roll call, Bev?
Nelson?
Yes.
Yep. Donlin?
Here.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Wick?
Yes. Motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second? Been motion second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Today, we're going to general discussion, and I do have to ask a question before I go into the general discussion, is the fact that I assume anyway, but I don't want to assume anybody wrong, but I assume the majority here is to talk about the action item under number one under D, which involves the EMS Director. Am I right? Is there anybody that isn't anybody else? Okay, the reason I say that is because when we get to action D, that's when we're going to discuss or open up to our open discussion so that everybody will have a chance. Okay, moving on. Citizens award, Mike, Kenny?
Well,
Thumbs up award?
this is my first meeting, and I have managed in the weeks since joining the council to visit with some of the departments in the city, and I'll continue to do that.
Sure.
And a thumbs up comes to mind for me this time, since I met with Rick Satella in the water department when I first got back from Christmas. What an impressive tour I was able to have, and what an impressive crew he has, up to and including the ones that are still outside trying to finish the leak on Plymouth. So thumbs up to water department. There'll be others, I'm sure.
Thank you, Mike. Clark?
First time up here, you steal my thunder. I was going to also give Rich Sattel and his crew thumbs up. That's a top-notch job they did. I like the fact that, I really like the fact that they went ahead and fixed another problem that was just in the area because you're there. So, Rich, you guys did a great job, and I do want to give a thumbs up there, too. So.
Thank you, Clark. Rex?
It was surprising to me that they could make it leak right next door when they're already there. That's an amazing crew that they know when it's gonna leak the next time. So they're already stabilized, they're already mobilized.
It comes from experience.
Yeah, you guys just screw it all up.
Ken?
I'll pass today, thank you.
Steve?
Thumbs up to all the patrons and abiding by the rules of the fireworks over New Year's. Very few complaints. Everybody was within the timelines, and things went very well. So thank you for everyone doing that.
I too want to thank Rich and his group. I was aware that they got called out at 9 o'clock that night. I think they worked most of the night, all night, on that water leak situation to get it fixed. The other one I want to say thumbs up to was last Friday. There was a real quick ice storm went through this town, and a lot of people wasn't even aware of it when it took place. But when we notified our public works superintendent, he'd already informed us that there's 5 trucks out on the streets right now. So thumbs up to our public works department and their group. Okay, moving on to number C, or consent items. All items listed under the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on those items unless a request is made prior to the time the council votes on the motion. Today we have 5 of them. Approval of the December 17th, 2019 regular meeting minutes. Number 2 is a list of the bills for period ending 12/31/19. Number 3 is a renewal of beer wine permit, which involves Family Table and Pizza Hut. And number 4 is a designation of official newspaper. And number 5 is the urban revitalization tax exemption request. Does any council members have any questions on these or want to pull any of them before we vote?
Motion to approve consent items 1 through 5.
Is there a second?
So,
It's been moved and second to approve the consent items 1 through 5. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I want to stop here just a minute. I apologize, but I forgot to, as I do each meeting, I want to welcome everybody in the chamber today that's here to observe our council meeting, and particularly you people over the television that join us normally every week. And of course, Dennis from the Cled and Bev from the Lamars Sentinel. Thank you. Okay, moving on to discussion or action items. And this is where we will have an open discussion, and I will share with you in a few minutes. Bear with me here. On December 20th and the 23rd, a combination of Administration and Public Safety Committee interviewed 4 applicants for the position of the EMS Director. At the conclusion of those interviews, the interviewing group unanimously agreed on the recommendation to take to the council. On January 2nd, the city administrator contacted each applicant and informed them the committee's recommendation to the council. The recommendation is the administration, the Public Safety Committee, and the mayor recommended the council appoint Mike Wise to be the position of the new EMS Director. If appointed, Michael could begin his duties immediately. After saying that, at this time, council members, we're going to open this. It's an open meeting, and we're going to open it up for discussion. And we're going to allow the individuals that want to share their opinions to visit with you about it before we vote or before you vote. And due to a large group here and an agenda we've got today, I'm going to request that we allow 2 minutes for each individual to share their opinions. And we ask you to do this. If you want to be a part of it, step up to the podium, state your name and address, and we're welcome to hear your opinions. Anybody want to be first?
My name is Logan Eldon, and I'm the Merrill Ambulance Director. Members of the Council, my name is Logan Eldon, and I am the Service Director of the Merrill Ambulance. Today I do not wish to speak about the Lamars Ambulance Director position, rather on what Greg Gangler has done for the Merrill Ambulance and surrounding communities. In past years, when the Merrill Ambulance has struggled to provide a reliable crew, Greg, along with Bill, offered up the assistance of their crew to help cover Merrill's territory. No matter the hour of day, if the Lamars Ambulance got paged out with Merrill, the crew from Merrill knew that there were paramedics coming if we should need it. There were times when they would get all the way to the scene just to have the Merrill crew tell them that we could handle the transport and that they could go home. Never once did the Lamars Ambulance complain that Merrill was wasting their time or try to implement a system where they would take all of the transports for the calls that they get paged out to. Instead, they offered a smile, a nod of approval, or a helping hand when needed. Most recently, Greg has been instrumental in transitioning all county ambulance services to a new call logging system known as ESO. With Greg leading the charge and getting the various county services on board, he was able to bring the cost of transitioning to ESO from a several $1,000s investment for each service down to no cost at all. Without Greg, the transition to ESO would have been very difficult, if not impossible, for a small service such as Merrill, which has an even smaller volume of calls. Last winter, Bill and Greg began teaching a groundbreaking EMT program at the Lamars High School. Both gentlemen volunteered their time to teach this class, 7:30 to 9 a.m., 4 days a week, for no personal gain, but to simply educate young, new EMS providers for the county. Greg Englert has been given an unmeasurable amount of his time to the community of Lamars and surrounding communities. As an EMS provider, you occasionally find yourself on a call at 2 a.m. or missing a date because of an emergency. In those times, I like to reflect upon one of my favorite quotes. Volunteers do not necessarily have the time, they just have the heart. Greg Englert has the most selfless, EMS-oriented heart I have ever encountered. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Next.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. This is Kevin Rollins, Remsen Ambulance. I'm the Service Director for Remsen Ambulance. I hope the City Council weighs your decision on this because it's going to affect not only the citizens of Lamars, but the surrounding area. If we lose staff on your service and your ALS service goes, not only are your people that are going to our local hospital not going to be able to have ALS service going to Sioux City or a surrounding hospital, but it will also affect the citizens of Lamars. And it is very important, so I hope the City Council gives great thought on the choice here. Also, I want to tell you, I cannot say enough good about Greg. Greg has helped us immensely over in Remsen. And again, speaking of the transition to ESO, he has been wonderful. He has 100% put his heart towards this ambulance service over here. And again, please give him some consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Next.
Joel Connolly from Merrill, Iowa. I lived in Lamars for many years, but I work in Lamars almost every day. Greg and John responded to a call when I had a heart attack at Wells. Kept me alive, gave me expert care. I also am on the Merrill Fire and Rescue Department. I work with Logan. I'd like to echo his sentiments and throw my support behind Greg too. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Next.
Tamara Kramer from Lamars. Several members of the crew are here to show our support for Greg Englert. We ask the council to reevaluate the recommendation made for Lamars Ambulance Director position. Greg Englert is an exceptional leader for our team. He has occupied the role as the assistant director for almost 4 years. Before that, Greg served as a principal member of the crew for 8 years prior to attaining the job as assistant director. In his 11 years with Lamars Ambulance, Greg has accomplished some truly amazing things. Greg has written and received $15,000 in grant money for the Lamars Ambulance. Greg has been instrumental in instituting county-wide documentation software, saving taxpayers of Lamars over $3,000 a year. While budgetary items are important, the really important stats come from Greg's dedication to patient care. As a paramedic, Greg has had the equivalent to reaching out to 15% of the population of Lamars and 35% of the patients treated by Lamars Ambulance since 2016. That's a lot of patients. That's a lot of citizens that he has touched. Greg believes so strongly in this profession, this service, and the future of our local EMS that he obtained funding, initiated and was lead instructor for the new EMT class through Lamars Community in Galen. This program has allowed Greg to share his passion for commitment to the community. These young people are taught about the world of EMS as well as the opportunity to volunteer with and for fellow citizens. Greg offers continuing education while at our meetings, as well as Wells Enterprise employees, because he believes competent first responders save lives. As you can see, Greg Englert is the ideal candidate for this position. Because of his fiscal responsibility, his dedication to patient care, his belief in the future of Lamars Ambulance. We feel Greg's tenure and contributions of the ambulance has been the best interview in itself. Greg has a clear vision for Lamars Ambulance, and this is the benefit to the citizens of Lamars. So, I'll leave you with this. Those of us in attendance and those of us who could not be here today, please consider what we do when we volunteer our time and how we want to work with Greg Gangler. We are unsure whether all qualifications were explored, including contacting professional references, current ACLS field experience, as well as input from fellow crew members. He is clearly the qualified and best candidate for this position. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next.
Good morning, Council. So my name is Lori Connolly, and I'm from Merrill. And I've known Greg for many years. And much like everyone has already told you, he's a compassionate individual, committed to what he is doing. He's devoted so much volunteer time prior to being hired on as a full-time EMS colleague here. I believe he has 7 years of volunteer work for that same squad. So that should say something for his dedication as well. And just to elaborate a little bit, you heard from my husband a little bit earlier about his heart attack at Wells. If Greg wasn't routinely following up and doing those CPR classes and that continuing education, Joe might not be here today. And I just think that that's just something that is being overlooked as far as the compassion and what Greg has to offer for this community, to Merrill, to our surrounding communities that aren't here either.
Thank you. Next.
I'm John Henson with Granville Ambulance and also Remsen Ambulance. And my opinion is, and what I've heard is there's a lot of people thinking about either retiring or leaving the service. EMS personnel is very hard to find these days to keep enough. I am from Remsen. I know that this is a Lamars Council meeting. It does affect Remsen though, due to the fact that Remsen is your backup as far as transfers to Sioux City at this time. If your first ambulance is out, they call Remsen. If you do not have enough people to staff an ambulance crew, I'm not sure where we're going to go, because I already work Granville and cover Paulina for paramedic assist, Remsen cover Marcus for paramedic assist. If I got to start coming to Lamars and doing assists constantly over here, I'm willing to do some, but I cannot be 24/7 because we're a volunteer service. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, I'm Doris Mars from Lamars, and I just wanted to let you know, wow, it's awesome. 11 years of service to Lamars, Iowa, Greg Gangler has given us. And he has been underneath a wonderful director of Bill Rosacker, who retired last month. As you already heard from others that have spoken on Greg's behalf, Greg has done a lot of great things for Lamars. Greg has done a lot of great things for the Lamars ambulance. He has touched over 1,450 patients on ambulance runs. About a year ago, Greg really showed me what a true paramedic was. Greg's dad was having a heart attack. Greg was on call. Greg cared for his dad. He kept in contact with Unity Point in Sioux City as to what steps to take next. And to that knowledge that Greg had, I still have my Uncle Bill. Bill, can you stand up, please? I'm damn happy. Okay, I do know that I do work at the restaurant, and I have called for ambulance on 3 or 4 different occasions just this last year. Lamars has a wonderful, wonderful ambulance staff, and they were there in no time at all. In fact, one was over the car wash washing his car, and he ran across the street with the bag. And I do believe that they work as a team, and they need to stay as a team. And Greg needs to be their director. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next. Anybody else?
Well, Dick, can I give some of the schematics here?
Absolutely.
So just so everybody understands what the schematics of the process are, when a department head director is hired, state law requires you to post that job for all to interview or send resumes in or whatever. So we did that to follow the state law. We got 4 candidates, and we interviewed the 4 candidates that were best. We had many more resumes that were sent in because, as everybody in the audience knows, Lamars is one hell of a nice place. So we interviewed the 4. The committee that the mayor is referring to, there can only be 2 council members on any committee. Again, according to state law, because if a third one would join, that would be an open meetings violation. And since we don't want to have open meetings violations, we've adhered to that during the entire 26 years I've been sitting here. So that committee has gone through all the proper protocol, all